Hey, we are very, very privileged today to have Leroy Logan, MBE, Police Superintendent of the Metropolitan Police with us today. Thank you so much for joining us at Ushine, Ishine. We're so grateful for your time. What I want to know, and what I know many young people want to know, is how did you? When did you make the decision to decide to protect and serve and become a policeman?
Well, thanks for inviting me, and it's really a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
How did it start? Well, I had finished university. I was a research scientist for a number of years.
Oh, wow, okay.
At the Royal Free Hospital in Hampstead, and the calling policing sort of caught my ear, and it was a whole sequence of events where I was starting to speak to police officers in a non-confrontational way at our leisure centre where we used to do sports or one form or another, and I started to see the human side of officers in a way that was totally contrary to my experience as a young man growing up in Islington. And they organised a ride round, and I liked the fact that helping people, solving their problems. And my boss at the time, Roy Pounder, is a professor now, if he's still in the medical profession or if he hasn't retired, said to me, you know, Leroy, I can't see you in a laboratory doing research for the next 30 odd years. And I said, what do you think I should do? He said, well, I think you're a people person. I think you should try policing. I said, really? I think it's a worst case scenario. And then I said, well, actually, I've been looking into that. And he said, well, I think you should pursue it. And the rest is history.
Oh wow! Okay, what a history. So what was that? That's such an interesting leap from research to then becoming a police officer. But you also said it was your calling.
Yeah.
So do you feel that from now it's always been a duty and something inside of you where you felt that the community was the most important thing, and in order to do that, it was a case of changing your career prospects. Was that hard? Was it hard making that leap?
It was a culture shock, but I think any sort of vocation is something that drives you. You have a clear vision and a purpose, and it makes sure that you don't get derailed or demotivated by any sort of prejudices and personal attacks or any form of prejudices of one form or another. And as a result of that, you're willing to come out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
And say, well, listen, there's a reason for this. It wasn't as clear as I would like to have been in the first 10 years. I'm thinking, wow,
I love that, 10 years.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Long time for young people. But for the first 10 years, because I joined quite late, I was 26 when I joined.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, is this really what I need to do? But sometimes your worst nightmare can be your biggest breakthrough.
Of course.
And I thought, well, got to tough it through. Got to work hard, got to give it a chance, and I was getting job satisfaction from being in a research team to working with the community and being a public advertisement that you can be part of the police service despite your background, your culture, ethnicity, your faith, and be influencing and shaping the organisation, because I'm quite clear you can't steer a ship from the shore. You've got to be on board in the captain's cabin setting the direction and the strategy.
I like that, in the captain's cabin. So what I want more young people to look into becoming police officers. What's the best advice that you can give to them when they're at the point where kind of considering it, not quite sure if it's the best role for them? What would you say to them?
Well, I think like every profession, they've got to say, well, listen, is that profession really for me? Am I going to give it a chance? Don't jump ship at the first opportunity. Really look at the skill sets that you have and play into your strengths, because I know that my sort of science background gave me a sort of analytical approach to things. So I was good at looking at two sides of the coin and helping to assess problems or, whatever crime it might be, or, to see where you can motivate and support people. And one case in point only recently manifested itself where when I was a rookie cop in Islington.
I like that, a rookie cop, yes.
Rookie cop, yeah. But then that's my sort of Idris Elba bit.
I like that, yeah.
I remember there was two young men who really used to give me a hard time. And, I could easily ended up, arresting them because they always were giving me verbal, not necessarily abuse, but they were extremely coarse in the language,
yes,
which was tantamount to a breach of the peace, and I could have easily reacted, but I responded in a way that we used to have banter. In the end, it became quite friendly banter, and well, definitely more friendly than it was when it first started. And after about a couple of years, I didn't see them. Track back 28 years later.
28, okay.
Something like that, yeah. Because I'm now in my 30th year of the organisation.
Oh, wow, okay.
And a young man contacted me and he said, listen, it was through LinkedIn, the social network. Yes. And he said, listen, you might not remember me, but I was the young man that used to give you a really hard time when you used to be a patrol officer in Islington. And we asked for us to meet up. We met up, and he came back and told me that, those sort of conversations we had 28 years earlier had motivated him to get his act together, and how those conversations resonated in his mind was when his friend, fortunately, was killed, stabbed, and that was obviously a wake-up call for him. And he really sort of said, well, listen, I've got to get my act together. I can't carry on the way that he was going. And he said that I helped him just by those words of encouragement.
Wow.
And to say, listen, you can be what you want to be, and be the change you want to see in the world. And as a result of that, I'm now on his UK Carnival Arts charity as a national programme based in Luton, and it's doing amazing things. And so that sort of legacy, I think, is something that encourages me, and knowing that you might not see the response immediately, but it could have a massive impact in years to come.
Definitely. How wonderful that is to be a catalyst to someone having such a great and bright future. So thank you for that. I know, so from that story also, I know you do a lot of work in equality and human rights. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I suppose it started from being one of the founder members of the Black Police Association, and we set our first meeting was in April '93. So hence my earlier comment about the first 10 years. I was wondering, what was this all about? But I suppose when we had our first meeting, the Black Police Association, in April '93, which was actually the same month and year Stephen Lawrence was killed, and we didn't know that our lives would run in parallel like that. But I think it was quite clear that that founder meeting of the brightest and the best of black police officers and police staff, that there was, I think, a movement of change to ensure race and equality issues were kept on the agenda. And despite the resentment from our majority culture colleagues, but we knew we had to take significant steps to challenge those in positions of authority with clear recommendations of what we saw were important issues. And our overarching aim then is still current now, that we're improving the work environment of black police officers and black police staff within the police service to improve service delivery to the black community,
Of course.
where we see disproportionality. And it's sort of developed from there. We launched in September '94, and we've been prominent in the Stephen Lawrence inquiry in '98, and the review 10 years later. And I personally have given written and oral submission in various inquiries, including Stephen Lawrence. Till this very day, we're working with the Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, on race and equality issues when it comes to policing and crime and the wider criminal justice system. And this also led me to be not only the founder member of the London Black Police Association, but the National Black Police Association. I was the first national president, and because I've had that sort of leadership role in making changes for the better and for the greater good, that I've prided myself in keeping that momentum and rhythm, especially in organisations such as the police, where their default position is not celebrating diversity in its greatest sense. It's better. It's got better. And it's in the right direction. But there's a lot of things still to do. And in my last year in the police service, I would like to ensure that we have the processes and practices
in place,
to ensure that it's not, race and equality is not off the agenda. It's not just personality driven, and it's hopefully going to create a legacy for your generation and younger generations to say, well, listen, we can be accepted, we can be understood and integrated without being assimilating our principles and values.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for leaving such a legacy, and we salute you for being a shining example, so thank you very much for that.
My pleasure. The work's still carrying on. Even in retirement, I'll still be
you know what, and I don't doubt that. Is that why you have so many awards, sir? And can you please tell us what they are for?
I think the awards is mainly because I've been around a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They give you an award just to shut you up, I think, sometimes. Well, actually, the first medal is the MBE.
Hey, okay.
I got that in January 2000. So I thought it was actually officially launched or made known publicly in January the 1st, 2000, which I thought was quite a nice start to the millennium.
You know what? That would be a brilliant start to the millennium.
Yeah. And that was for my contribution to policing. And then this is the Queen's Golden Jubilee.
Oh wow! Okay.
Which was 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Wonderful.
And then this is the Long Service Medal.
I like that one.
After 22 years. And recently, as a result of the Jubilee last weekend, we were given the Diamond Jubilee Medal, which I haven't put on the end there.
But it's coming.
It's coming. It's a nice burgundy.
We like that.
So it's a nice contrast. Yeah. So, it goes with the gowns,
I hear you. Very nice gowns. I'm very impressed. And then, before we round up, I just wanted to ask you, I know that you've got a hand in the Olympics and the Paralympics this year, 2012 East London, you know where we're at. So what's your role in that?
Well, I'm the Learning and Legacy Manager for the Olympic Safety and Security Programme, and that's not just for London but nationally. So we're making sure that the learning from the torch relay right through both games, Olympics and Paralympics, is being fed into our operational units, so that we have a safe, secure and enjoyable games.
I hear you, and it will be wonderful. Are you able to catch a few things while you're there, or will it all be work?
Well, I would like to think, I'll catch a couple of the events, but it will be very work focused. That's why I thought, let me get some vacation time with my uncle
in Jamaica,
and get some rest before we start off. And again, the L word, the legacy word, is something very important. So I've been involved in writing up the legacy report, because I would like to think policing and wider sort of statutory agencies will actually be enhanced and improved by the Olympic Games, because of the unique networks that have been set up across government, a lot more joined up government,
Yes.
And not only at the central level but at a local level. And I would like to think the active participation of communities have actually influenced a lot of the work of statutory agencies right across the country. So, and you know, I just think the values of the Olympics, the principles that people all have common, you know, based on human rights, based on understanding difference and celebrating that,
Definitely.
is starting to be infectious across the country in terms of the torch relay. And I really believe, you know, all things being well, we'll have again another positive legacy for our children to build on.
Amen to that. And just before we leave, I really want to know, what is the recipe, the ingredients that we can give to our young people? What would you say is a really nice thought or pleasure just to leave them with?
Well, I think, you know, if I can do it, anyone can do it. I think it's around having a clear vision, having a real purpose in life, and sticking it through. Sometimes it doesn't always work, but, you know, as Churchill says, never, 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 never give up.
Never.
And don't let other people demotivate you. I'm a great believer that you're only as good as the people that surround you. So try and surround yourself with positive people, with that real energy, real understanding of you, and want to help you as, you know, a person who wants to make a change in the world. And, you know, I'm really blessed that a lot of my friends from school were still close today. They're all positive people in the arts and various other professions, and, you know, they've, you know, we come together and we always support each other and challenge each other.
Yes, always.
You know, so, you know, positive peer groups. People who can, you know, motivate you when you may be looking a bit disappointed or having to deal with disappointment. And literally, final word is not so much what happens to you in life, it's how you deal with it.
Amen to that.
And, you know, problem solving is a critical part of life, and especially if you're a parent, you know, your children watch you, how you deal with problems. If you deal with problems in an objective and reasonable way, they will do likewise.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Leroy. That was Leroy Logan, MBE. Thank you. You shine, I shine. Thank you very much. And
you're doing a great work, and continue, and, you know, hopefully you might even give me a job when I retire next year.
Always. Bye. Thank you so much.
Because you've got so much energy. You should like this all the time. It's a natural high, is it?
It is, yeah. Water and cake and custard.
Oh, cake and custard, my favourite.